Hello everyone, welcome back to MentorMe. Are you someone who feels like opportunities have passed you by? Do you keep thinking, if only I had the chance earlier? Remember, age is just a number for those who are determined to make a change. Do you want to know how you can turn your dreams into reality no matter when you start? You will find the answers in Cathy's inspiring journey. If you missed part 1 of this interview, be sure to check it out by clicking the iCard or visiting the description below. Join us as we dive deeper into her story and discover how determination can unlock new possibilities at any stage of life.
You mentioned about your health issues also, right? Sometime you took a break from skating and everything. So, how do you suggest that your health played a decision in making these changes to your life, and how did these changes impact your ability to pursue this figure skating again?
Well, I didn't die. the doctor, that doctor had me crying that day. He said, if you don't fix your body, you will die. And I'm like, you know, to hear that, um, the
I think that's a
changes.
waking up call for a lot of people, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. In order right now, I even see myself needing to make more health changes because I would still like to lose another 20 to 30 pounds for skating because I just want to be able to jump higher and do a few more difficult things before my body tells me it's time to cut back a little, because there aren't many figure skaters in their 70s still doing jumps, because your joints, your bones, all of those things start to just naturally get worn down. But I believe that you can keep your body strong and fit if you work a little harder. They have proven that it's harder to maintain the muscle mass and the bone mass as you age. But just in the last 2 years, I've increased my bone density by 8%. And it was at a decent level. But I don't just skate. I lift weights. I mean, I've had to learn how to do all of that because I was reading, and for women especially, to keep your bones strong, weightlifting, resistance training, and jumping are critical. So I'm jumping off the ice and I'm jumping on the ice, and I'm like, come on, bones, stay strong. And I just know it takes more work than it took before, but it's a commitment I'm willing to make. And that kind of body change, when you make that kind of change, I don't even remember myself that big. My coach taught me to look in the mirror and like the girl I see. I could never look at myself. So I never really saw myself big. The pictures I have are some other people took because I threw everything else away that I had. So now I look back and go, who was that? And I said, she was confused and she didn't love herself. And that whole part of learning to love yourself is for me, very hard to do. And I now have a list on my phone of affirmations that are all very positive. And I've actually taught the phone how to read them to me with emotion. There's a way to play with how you type it in. And I'm like, So now wherever I'm driving, I've named that note, oh, for affirmations, oh, yes. I have them read to me while I'm driving, while I'm flying, whatever I'm doing. So it keeps reinforcing that, yes, I can do all of this. And the body change is important. I mean, for the longest time, I was telling people how I was a healthy fat girl because my numbers were good. And one day in my 60s, my numbers were not good and they were very dangerous. So, yeah, I changed a lot of what I was eating. I don't really drink alcohol anymore. Just a lot of things to make life better and healthier.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah.
That's good. So you've mentioned your coach a couple of times in our conversation. So tell us how your coach played a big role in in this transformation journey, and how
Yeah,
it also looks like he's built that positive attitude in you, right? Not just the fitness, spark, but also the positive attitude. So tell us a little bit about your coach and how
well,
he played a role.
interestingly, he is still playing a role in my life, less often because he moved to Spain. That was the choice he made to make the end of his life happier. So he and his partner from the US, he's Cuban, she's American, but they moved to Spain and they're as happy as they can be right now. But he and I do our health coaching calls over the phone like a couple times a month. And he's so good. He was trained at the Health Coach Institute and got certified to be a health and life coach. But meanwhile, he grew up in the US. Even though he maintained his Cuban citizenship, he had his green card here. And not only did he grow up in the US, he was a United States Marine and he was in the military 8 years. And he's always been about pushing and the body and health and fitness. And I did not ask for him to be my coach. I was at my gym and said, I need help. And there was a woman I wanted to have for my coach who was also a physical therapist because I knew my injuries were bad. And that woman gave me this man. No, not that one. The woman at the gym said, I found a coach for you. And he scared me to death. I was so nervous training with him. But he helped me realize that I could fix my body, but it wasn't going to stay fixed without fixing my head and my heart. And that was the key. And I didn't even know he was trained to do that. But the little questions were always coming out, and he, to this day, he is constantly reframing things for me and challenging me to figure out what truly makes me happy and what my purpose will be late in life. And I think I have found my purpose in working with young people in figure skating. But I still think there's more to come, and so does he. And it's not easy because you really have to step back and look at everything you're doing. But it's good to have somebody trained in that. And I'm looking now at getting myself certified and being able to do mindset work with these young skaters. So I'm kind of looking at school courses again. And one of the girls, the 17-year-old, we even have a little business idea we've thought up called Pure Skate, where we can put together little toolkits for other kids to teach themselves. So, we're having fun.
So it's good. It's good to see you enjoy, and I think you're blessed to have a good coach also, who could inspire you and bring you back to
Yes. And I have him
motivation.
for my brain and my heart. And I have two great figure skating coaches, one on each coast, one in North Carolina, one here. And they're both excellent. They're so important. And then there are other people I'm working with now in my gym. And one is strictly over Zoom. He's called a movement coach, but it's amazing what I'm learning from him about balance as I age and trying to keep my body alignment, because I do have a twisted spine. There's no way I should be skating. But when I learned that was the same point in time I was starting to skate again. And he has really helped me stop my spine from getting worse and keep my pain levels down and keep me moving. And it's through very unusual types of balancing work that we do that my mother thinks I'm crazy doing that too. She watches. She says, "You're too old for that." No, I'm not. My mother is 93 in 2 weeks.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to know. She's still with you, and hope you have more journey with her.
Thank you.
So you had arthritis, right? So how tough was it, with this condition, and what would you advise for young people, who are facing such health obstacles?
The diabetes?
No, I said arthritis.
Oh, arthritis.
Hmm.
Okay. Ugh. I don't have I have osteoarthritis. I have it everywhere. I just I have it in my big toe, and my ankles are bad from the injuries, my knees, my hips. But I we were talking about this because I really think movement is so important. Movement is great medicine for your body and your mind. But anything that gets the endorphins going helps with pain. And the more you can keep using the body, I think, the longer it's going to hold up. And there's a point for some people, like my skating coach, she's had both of her hips replaced. She still skates. Hmm. And I have a lot of skaters. The adult skating community teaches you a lot that have had knee replacements, and they're limited on what they can do, but they're still skating. So I am very proactive with the arthritis because I know that you can eat foods that are anti-inflammatory. That helps. I take all kinds of supplements that are supposed to help with the arthritis. I have um, I have explored some of the injections for. They put the hyaluronic acid in there to help keep your joints moving. I've done some work with stem cell with lipogems where I had my ankle injected with, they take fat from your body, they harvest the orthopedic stem cells, and then they inject it back in. And that's like temporary relief. But I'm looking for more permanent relief now. They wanted to do more injections in my knees right before I came here, and I said no, because that can also break down your tissues. So I started doing some really hard physical therapy type exercises, and they're working. So, it's just eating right, living right, cutting down on the inflammatory things, and having somebody advise you. There's acupuncture that works. There's a lot of things outside the normal scope, but of everything, keeping moving. You stop moving and it all just kind of stiffens up. And
Yeah.
that can be anything. Like swimming's like a safe sport for people to learn that keeps the body moving. But some people have arthritis that isn't really correctable, and they have to have some pretty major surgeries. But then I always say there are ways you can keep moving without using all of your joints. Like what I did while I was healing on my knees was just use a whole lot of upper body work and a whole lot of just sitting still. And there's all kinds of things I've been learning to keep the blood flow going. And maybe someday, I was talking about it last night because I said maybe someday they're going to find a way to help those of us with arthritis. My mother needs a knee replacement and she's too old to have it. So she's miserable. And, we're trying to keep her moving with the walker and the knee brace. And she recognizes that if she doesn't keep moving, everything's going to go.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And by now, you would think somebody would have figured it out. How to just make that cartilage grow again.
I mean, I think after a certain age, things get tougher. But
They
I
do.
think we should appreciate your mom that she is still trying to, do her
Well,
best.
there is also a male figure skater who I see when I'm here, and he is 88, and he is still performing in local shows and still skating 3 days a week with arthritis. So he just doesn't do as many things, but he's out there with the same passion and love that all of us have. So that inspires me. I go, I keep moving. I might be like him when I'm 88.
I think it's like understanding your body and like moving, as much as you could, right? So I think, yeah, that really sounds interesting, and it's also interesting to see that you're able to, take this very positively. Uh,
Right. Well, it's much easier to make up excuses to not do something,
mhm,
and you have legitimate pain and you can make up those excuses
mhm,
than it is to just deal with the pain. And sometimes, oh, I use a lot of those topical products too.
mhm.
There were four of us on the podium at Adult Nationals, all over 65, and all you could smell was that mentholatum smell from the biofreeze because everybody had greased up their bodies with the numbing stuff, and it wasn't perfume. I said, "This is the perfume of adult skaters," you know, all the rubs that we put on.
I think, and another interesting way of dealing with the pain, right? Numbness.
Yeah.
Okay. Competing after such a long time, definitely is impressive. And what emotions did you experience during your first competition after 48 years? And how did you learn? What did you learn from this experience?
I was so nervous. But I told you about those affirmations, and I had picked four of them. And while I was standing in the middle of the ice waiting for the music to start, and I saw my family and some of my friends and my coaches came. That coach from North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
the health coach, he came with his wife. They came to see me do the first skate. That meant so much to me. And I sat there and waited for the music and said the affirmations. I am a figure skater. I am an athlete. I can do this. I am happy. And the minute the music started, I smiled. And by then, my program was pretty much memorized and just would flow. But I made eye contact with everybody I knew. And I saw them, they all had their cameras up, but I also saw them with these huge smiles, and it made me so happy. And it it went by very quickly because it was a 2-minute program, and I didn't skate perfectly, but it felt good. And I realized to them I was like a superstar. They were just so excited. And the joy that came from that and seeing them so happy. And afterwards, my granddaughter, oh my God, the hugs. I mean, just every one of them, like, you did it. And I went on from that. When I got to my first adult nationals, by then I was working with that mindset coach, and I knew that I just had to go out there and enjoy it, and I did. So I'm not skating at an extraordinarily difficult level for figure skating, but for me, it's everything. It's like, for me, it's the most I can do. And I have fallen in competition, but adult crowds are great. They're like, get up, and you get up and you keep going. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a great relief. And to see everybody happy while you're skating, I love that. I
Mm.
love seeing them smile and hear them cheer. It just is, it's great.
I know. I
And
can
at the end of
imagine
my,
like the thrilling, feeling, right? Oh, you get
it's
thrilled.
a really
Yeah.
thrilling feeling. And when I finished at my last adult nationals, which was 2023, and I took my bow, but then I looked up and saw my husband, I just threw the biggest kiss. And then everybody went crazy in the crowd cheering for him. I mean, so that part of it, and I'm looking forward to doing that again. I'm just hoping to make my competition because I couldn't compete this year because of my knee,
Mhm.
and I was so shocked. I was like, no. But now I have the goal for 2025, and
Mm.
hopefully that's going to happen.
I'm sure it will happen.
Yeah, in one way or another. I'll either be doing a show number or my technical number or both, but
Mhm.
I have to be out there again.
Yeah, for sure it will happen, and good luck for you for
Thank
the
you.
next competition. So you
Thank you.
really seem positive in every aspect of life. I'm sure you're balancing, your family, work, and also pursuing a passion. How do you manage all these aspects? And what would you advise the younger generation on, balancing out all these aspects of life?
There are so many struggles when you're young. Life seems more complicated and more difficult, having to figure out big life changes like getting that job and moving out. But I think knowing that you can do it and believe that you can do it. One of the things that I learned that I've been teaching the girls I'm working with is the power of choice. Um, every time I would come into my health coach, my first coach, and tell him how awful my morning had started, and my husband kept interfering with my meditation practice and this and that, and he looked at me and goes, "You have a choice. You have a choice. You can choose to move away from that situation and do it somewhere else, and you can choose not to let it bother you." And I just was startled. And from that day forward, I realized that our superpower is choice. We can absolutely choose exactly how we want to be at any moment. And if we can help young people realize their power of choice, that they can choose what's best for themselves, what gives them the greatest joy, which propels them forward. And when times are really bad, they can choose to find those few little good parts of gratitude in their life and let that lift them up. It is one of the most important things you can master. And I'm a real advocate of that because I had to learn.
That's good. I'll keep it. Definitely, I'll keep that in my mind. I'll make that choice
You
next
remember
time.
that,
I'll make that choice
especially when
next
everybody
time.
wants you. You can say, I've learned to say, well, I don't choose to do that today.
Mhm.
And it quiets everybody down. They're like, whoa. I actually use the word choose. And when I'm doing things now that conflict in the household, I just go, well, I actually am choosing to do this right now. And I just keep repeating that till they kind of hear me and it's working.
Mhm.
And if that man could have taught me nothing more but that, it would be a win. It's
Mhm.
like, oh, yeah, I didn't think that I could make that choice.
Right. Yeah, I think you will just have to make that choice and stick on to it. Yeah. So, how has figure skating contributed to your overall well-being, and what advice would you have for young people on maintaining the healthy lifestyle? Most of them are like glued to their gadgets nowadays.
Oh, I know.
They really don't. Think health and fitness is really important. They want to be surrounded by gadgets. So, what advice would you give to this younger generation?
Well, I think they have to do a little bit of homework on what does happen to your body when it stops getting the movement that it needs and the nutrition that it needs, the endorphins that it needs, and the joy that comes from physical activity. You let your body go too far, and it's not necessarily going to come back to you. And if you can master that at a young age, it gives you so much more energy and so much more joy. But I watch these kids I'm working with that do a lot of sports. They do more than just skate because they've learned that by working out in the gym or playing with their friends, on a soccer field, gives them that extra energy. Whenever somebody tells me they're tired, I say, you need to go move because you'll get energy from the movement. But with young people and electronics, well, guess what? There's a lot of exercise in electronics right now. There are so many great ways to move, letting your device teach you how, that there is no excuse. There are many great teachers, there's many great classes. I mean, I go on YouTube all the time to learn new exercise things for different parts of my body. I have been researching hips now, and they're between Instagram and YouTube and the free information and how to move this way, that way, and whatever, it's out there. But being buried in a device is taking away everything that's waiting out there for you. There's so much more out there. There's visual learning out there, there's sensory learning, and there's just total health for your body out there. It breaks my heart. I think back to not having a phone or anything. We did so much outdoors, just in, had great fun doing it.
Right. We were always outdoors, even us, right? We were always outdoors. Weekend was like more spending time with family and friends,
Yeah.
just go out
Yeah.
to a sport. I mean, barely there used to be any programs on the TV at that time. So, yeah, we had a totally different world at that time to what we see right now.
Yeah, I think if you find what motivates you and inspires you, you don't need all the other fulfillment. There was a man I was working with a few weeks ago. He's Canadian, and he is also an athlete, but he said he is founding that being buried in our devices is a form of addiction because he works with people who are recovering from addictions. And I started to think about that because I think about when I'm alone and, kind of haven't decided what my day is going to look like. I grab the device, and I'm making myself more aware of that now, that even if I'm just playing around or reading, it's like, this can be an addiction, Cathy. It's learning to find the balance. I think you mentioned that, finding that balance of how much time do I allot for this, how much for this. And, we do that. We make our schedules like that. I intentionally make a schedule that spreads it all out. The other thing I ask the kids to look at, it's kind of a game we play now, is I'll randomly during the week, 2 or 3 times during the week, say, tell me your 3 small wins so far this week. And they love that because they reflect back on even like something little they did, like, oh, I actually got to read this article I wanted to read. I did this in school. I did this on the ice. And it helps them realize that they're moving forward. They're achieving certain goals. So I think finding those little habits and making your own little toolkit to help move you beyond the device. It's okay to have your device. We all have them. But managing it and having that little toolkit of, if I do this, I can do this. And yeah, you need supervision though at a young age. I don't see a lot of people doing that themselves.
Yeah, totally true, Kathy. I think it's about, keeping that right mindset and drawing boundaries with gadgets and, sticking on to being committed, right? Again, you can make a
Yes.
number of plans, but you just need to stick on with it, implement it, not get addicted. Yeah, there's a lot to it. And I think that really, you very well, laid out the plan for, people who are getting addicted to the gadgets or who want to really get to that healthy lifestyle, right? There's so much out there for us, and we really need to, take out the time to explore everything else in this world.
That's
Yeah.
very well said.
Yeah. So, Meghna, you want to ask Kathy some more questions?
Yeah, sure. So we were talking about how figure skating has helped you, right? So what are your future dreams in figure skating, and how do you think that young people can explore their passions and still pursue careers?
Well, it's a good question. One of the things I realized, again, I realized it during COVID because I was just starting back to skating. And I realized it after this knee surgery. I am an unhappy person when I am not skating. And I really had to work to find ways to stay happy, to keep moving forward, and then start to think about ways that I could be involved in the skating world, even if I wasn't skating. So I started going to the ice rink, which is 2 hours away from me in North Carolina, to just, cheer the kids up, watch them skate, tell them they were doing a great job. I went to a few of their competitions. I'm getting more involved in the volunteer aspect of figure skating. I hope to compete in adult competitions as long as my body allows me to, but I'm considering now becoming a skating judge which would take a lot of work to get to that point, but it would keep me involved and at the events. And that would just be a lot of fun. Yeah, it
Yeah,
gives me joy.
that's great. And how do you, the second part of the question, what do you suggest that how students, I mean, how young people can balance their passions and their careers?
Mm. Well, recognizing that you need the career to basically survive, reward yourself with the passion in the course of your day when you're not working on your career.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
finding what makes you happy needs to be that reward to yourself when you've conquered the task of doing the job you need to be doing. If, like you two have done, you can find the job that is your passion, well,
yeah,
then you've just hit the big jackpot.
right. That
But not
it's not
everybody has
easy.
that.
Right. Yeah. Not all of us
Yeah,
can make that switch, and not all of us even recognize that what is their passion and what is that they want to pursue, right? So, yeah, I think the
right.
first step should be, I mean, discovering what they want to pursue and balance it along their careers.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
initially when they're making a career choice, I think people have to really, see whether something fits their passion and aptitude. If one chooses something that fits their natural aptitude and also passion, I think they'd be more successful in that career rather than choosing something that you
Yes.
really, I mean, you don't want to force yourself to go to a job, right? You don't want to be demotivated at the job. You really need something, that you like, you're positive about it. You look forward to going to work every day. I think
Yep.
if you choose a career that really aligns with your interest and passion, I think you will really do well in your career.
Mhm.
That's so true. Very, very true. And there are ways to get to that. There are ways to do jobs to get started and then maneuver yourself into that job of passion. And
Mhm.
yeah, this can happen,
True,
which
true.
is why I'm looking at continuing to work, because I think you have to work. You have to keep your brain active to stay healthy as you age. The minute you start like just watching TV or something, you're not using your brain in the right way. And doing something physical to use your brain really helps it. And I'm now working on ways to help teach these young people how to start a little business, but I'm doing it for myself too. And it's around our passion of skating. So, yeah, that's one of those situations where it's going to benefit all of us.
Yeah, and I think you will definitely be more successful at it because you love figure skating, and you're definitely going to be a great coach, and you're also like sharing that knowledge with everyone and inspiring everyone else to be healthy. So I think it's a win-win situation for somebody who's getting coached by you and also for you as well.
It truly is. And that's why I want to get better at doing it. That's my next goal. And I'm learning from people who are mentoring young people already in athletics. So kind of hanging with the crowd and finding my way through, and it's how you do it. You just can't be shy about it. You just have to step into it and ask all the questions. I might tell them, I don't know what I'm doing. Tell me how this works. So they do.
Yeah, and it's nothing wrong, right? We not everyone knows
Yeah.
everything, and it's not that you have to know everything in this world. So it's perfectly fine. It's like exchanging knowledge, and even the younger generation has so much to share with us. And
They
I
do.
personally love learning from my children.
I think it's important for us to stay as we age associated with young people because they do keep us younger and they do teach us new things. And I don't want to fall behind. So
Thanks for watching. Hope this video was informative. If you like the content, please hit the like button and also share with your friends to whom you think it would be useful. Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on new videos and live webinar sessions.